jump in here and then we will get started. Read a message in the chat. Tell us where you're joining from, what you're interested in. Are you working on IPFS? You building something on IPFS? Just looking to see what's going on? Let us know in the chat. I know I need Jessica to train me on her DJ skills. All right. I'm going to go over, we'll start kicking things off here. Start off with a few reminders that this event abides by the IPFS Code of Conduct. If you have not read that, link will be in the chat shortly. Please do. Just rule of thumb, be respectful. Also, the Q&A box is below. Feel free to ask any questions over the course, and we will get to those at the end. YouTube, you can see all of our past events, future events, everything will be posted to YouTube. This event will also be, we're live streaming there now, and we'll upload a full, complete, polished version later on. And if you have any questions or you would like to speak at a future event, next one will be in March, please email ipfscommunity@protocol.ai. We would love to have you come speak. Today's agenda. So we're kicking things off. Yannis is going to give us a quick overview of a research workshop invitation. Hopefully you will all attend. And then we've got Leon talking about Hackathon to Tachyon. Shortly after that, Ilya creating web archives directly in your browser with ArchiveWeb.page. And then Wiki rounding us off with shaping the future beyond NFT on Polkadot. And without further ado, I think we'll get kicking off 2 minutes early, and we will switch over to Yannis talking about Research Workshop.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for putting this in the agenda. To talk about, to announce basically that there is going to be a research workshop happening in June, focusing on decentralizing the internet with IPFS and Filecoin, DI2F for short. And this workshop is going to take place together with the biggest conferences in networking, academic conferences. So this is really your chance to present your work to academic audience, get PhD students, researchers, and academics interested in what you're doing, and really shine in this environment. The topics, as you understand, are going to be very familiar to what is being discussed in these meetups. Can we go to the next slide, please? And the topics include things like improvement in the IPFS protocol stack or the Filecoin stack, architectural proposals. They go beyond the strictly technical things, and someone would be very welcome to discuss socioeconomic, legal, and regulatory aspects, as well as applications. So if you're building an application that is building on top of the IPFS protocol stack or the Filecoin stack, then you're more than welcome to present that. So the contributions, as you can understand, range from a work in progress paper to a full academic paper, 6-page long, where you can present some improvement to a protocol, present some results, show how much faster things are done with your contribution, and so on. There's also going to be some competition, so we're going to announce some prizes at the end, and not at the end, we're going to announce a competition at the end. It's going to run for a couple of weeks after the workshop, and there is going to be some prizes after that. So next slide, please. Quick thing on timelines. Now is the time to start preparing your submissions. The deadline for submissions is the 19th of March, so pretty much in a month, basically. Then we've put up a great technical program committee that is going to judge your contributions and whether they are great enough to be included in the workshop program. And the workshop itself takes place on the 21st of June. I'll paste the link in the chat so that you can have a look at the workshop's webpage. And yeah, get ready and tell your friends as well to get their works submitted to the workshop. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Yanis. We will look forward to that link. Sign up, join the research event. And now we will start kicking off the rest of our talks, starting with Leon going over Hackathon to Tachyon.
All right. Can you guys see everything, hopefully? So before I presented this, I was thinking I should either do something technical or something more of a story, and I kind of ended up on the story side. Yeah, this is kind of my presentation of how I ended up here. So a little background about myself. My name's Leon. Hello. I used to work at Shapeshift, and about 6 or 7 months ago, I was working at Binance. And I was contributing to Protocol Labs for a while. So during that time, about 6 months ago, I did a lot of your typical 9-to-5 work, but I wanted to do more experimenting, more like playing around with new technologies. And PL had a lot of cool tech that I wanted to play around with. So I was thinking about, okay, what should I do, right? So around that time, around 6 months ago, there was this hackathon called HackFS. And so PL reached out to me and they said, hey, you should join this. It's sponsored by ETH Global, Protocol Labs, and a bunch of other sponsors. So I thought, okay, let's do something fun. Let's give it a try, right? This hackathon a try. But a little disclaimer, before I did this hackathon, my record was not that good in the hackathon space. In fact, I lost every single hackathon that I've attempted. 0-8, it's probably more. All the hackathons that I've lost, they have like pity points, so they give you a shirt. And I have a closet full of shirts right behind me that kind of vouch for that. So my mindset joining was not to win. So I was thinking, okay, let's do something more fun, right? So I had an option of either making a serious project that I've done before or doing something fun and making a game. So I kind of went down route number 2, making a game. And for this project, I wanted to do 2 things. Number 1, know how to make a game. I didn't know how to do that. And number 2 is put the game on IPFS. So during that hackathon, those were my 2 goals. I was able to finish that, luckily, in time. And so I finished the project, and it is called IPFS FPS. This is a screenshot or a little GIF explaining what it does. If you want to play it, you can join. You can visit this link and give it a shot. So what's cool about this game is this whole game here lives on IPFS. This gun here is an NFT, and the leaderboard in the background is connected to an Ethereum smart contract. So there's a lot of like crypto elements baked in. So when I built this, I got really lucky and I won a few prizes, and I thought, okay, this is cool. Let me go back to my regular 9-to-5 and just continue on. But that wasn't the case, and that's because a group called Tachyon reached out to me. So Tachyon is an accelerator program run by Consensus. They reached out to me and they said, hey, Leon, we like your idea. You should explore the space a bit more. And at that time, I was pretty comfy, in where I was, and I was really hesitant. I said no a bunch of times, but they're really persistent. And in the end, I decided to take a risk and quit my job at Binance and join this accelerator program. And when I did, it was a 3-month program. I spent a lot of time exploring the space, and I realized there's a lot of missing infrastructure in this game world. So let me explain. So if you're trying to build a game, if you're trying to build a website, right, you have all the tools necessary: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Web3.js, and Ethereum. If you're trying to build your CryptoKitties, you have all the tech required. But if you're trying to build a game, you're not going to use HTML, CSS. You're going to use a gaming engine, such as Unity or Unreal. But the problem is this connection, right, between the gaming engine and the blockchain. It's simply not there. So that was a huge opportunity for me to dive in and explore. So for the last 3 months, I was working on this project that simply fills in this piece, right? It completes the tech stack, and it's able to connect any game to the crypto ecosystem. So when I built this out, I was able to have package everything into a nice SDK. And right out the box, this SDK supports ERC20s, 721s, 1155, and any custom contract that you want, such as that leaderboard. You build the game once, and you can export it to your browser, IPFS, iOS, Android, PC, and Mac. And what's cool about this SDK is it's simple. It's simply drag and drop and copy paste. So here's a little video demo explaining how it all works. So this is Unity, creating a blank project, saving it to my desktop. And the top right corner is the SDK. So to install it, I simply have to drag and drop, click import. And just like that, I'm connected to any token, any marketplace. And in here, there's a subfolder called prefabs, which have these pockets of functionality. So I can send, receive, and for example, get the balance of an 1155 token. So I drag it into the scene, hit play, go to console, and you'll see a number 332. So where's this number coming from? It's coming from an existing marketplace, OpenSea. So you own 332, right? In just a couple clicks, I'm able to tap into a marketplace. So how does it work behind the scenes? The code's quite simple. There's a lot of complicated stuff behind the scenes, but I try to make it easy for you all. So step number one is, what is the network, right? Rinkeby. So I'm getting Rinkeby. Step number two is, what is the contract? To EBE. I'm simply copy pasting over. And in one line, I'm connected to that token. And I want to get the balance of my account with token ID 22. And in one line, I can get the 1155 balance of that account. So this is really small piece of what this SDK can do. It can send, receive, connect to a lot of marketplaces. But this isn't really too much about the product. I want this talk to be more general. So this piece here is only one of three that the startup is working on. So one of three. So the first part is storage, right? How to store the game. So the game is stored on IPFS, the whole game. We plan on implementing new features such as storing character stats on Filecoin. Number two is how to transfer value, right? Through Ethereum with NFTs, tokens, so on and so forth. With Ethereum, we plan on implementing more blockchains, but as of right now, that SDK supports Ethereum. And the third part, this will be done. This is around 90% done, by the way, and it'll be public in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned. I have my contact later on. And part three is the networking side of implementing libp2p. So the community here is amazing. I have a ton of support on this piece right here. It's still being mapped out, but by having this, it's kind of the trifecta of creating decentralized games, completely decentralized games. So that's kind of the goal of this whole project. So to summarize, I didn't end up here like talking to you guys. It's such a weird journey, man. Like it started off as a hackathon project, and it started off as just failure after failure, and then just one day deciding let's just have fun with it, and it kind of snowballed to where I am today. So this talk isn't so much about the technical side. I just wanted to share with you guys like more personal stuff and give you guys one piece of advice, and that is if you have an idea, just go for it. You know, you never know where you're going to end up. I'm in an amazing spot right now, working with really smart people, working on projects that I love. Yeah, I think if you just go for it, you'll end up someplace like really great. So to sum things up, if you guys are interested in the project, or if you just want to chat, here's my contact on Twitter and in Telegram. So thank you.
Leon, thank you so much. Yeah, that's super awesome. All the more reason participate in hacks. We will have a bunch more this year that y'all can participate in and join Leon and all the fun hacking. But super interesting to see that project and really curious to see how those features develop over time. If you have any questions for Leon, please add them to the chat. You can answer as we go, and then we'll make sure we allot for Q&A at the end. Thank you so much, Leon. And next up, we'll bring Ilya talking about creating web archives directly in your browser.
Hello. Hi. Yeah, so I guess I'll go ahead and start. Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, I wanted to talk about high fidelity web archiving and do a quick demo of some of the tools that I've been working on. And so I'll go ahead and start. So I want to talk about, so I work on a project called Web Recorder, and the idea with Web Recorder is sort of our motto is web archiving for all. So the idea is to allow anyone to create web archives of exactly what you see in your browser and to archive them at full fidelity. And so kind of just very briefly, what are some of the goals of the Web Recorder project? Yeah, it's basically to focus on capture and replay and archive things as accurately as possible. All the tools are fully open source. And another key goal, of course, is to make web archiving more accessible via decentralized technologies. So kind of to start, what is web archiving and what does it mean to actually save a page and view it later? So you might think that, well, there are kind of some obvious approaches to start with, including, for example, the browser save page as. So every browser has that, and you can go to a page and try to save a page. If you actually do that on any page that's anything that is not mostly just a static document with HTML, you'll quickly find that what you actually save doesn't generally work very well when you try to load it back up. Part of it is that that doesn't save it doesn't save the network traffic that got you to that point. It only saves a static snapshot, and it doesn't save any of the state in JavaScript. And oftentimes, modern web pages, which are really complex applications, don't really work when just loaded from your local file system. Another approach that is often tried is sort of kind of simple crawling and scraping. You could actually use wget, and you could point it at a website, and it'll retrieve that HTML, it'll extract all the links, and it'll repeat cursively. But again, there's no JavaScript run, and you'll find out that you'll get the static assets from a site, but anything that's loaded dynamically, anything that's loaded through JavaScript generally doesn't work. And so these are sort of the what I would call lower fidelity approaches to web archiving. And high fidelity web archiving is attempting to archive exactly what you see and hear and do in the browser, and essentially to capture the interactive experience of websites while keeping them interactive. And so since modern websites still are made up of kind of HTTP network requests, that's basically what we're attempting to capture. And so, for example, if we look at so if we look, for example, at a site like Twitter, that is highly dynamic, and if we look at the dev tools, for example, we'll see that when we load Twitter, even though it's everything that's being loaded is being served, and you can actually see the kind of the network requests coming in dev tools. And so the browser already has this, obviously, in order to create the page. And so what if we're able to capture all of this network traffic and simply recreate it later? And so that's basically the idea with high fidelity web archiving. And for that, we have a browser extension that's available on ArchiveWeb.page. So it's easy to remember, and you can actually go to ArchiveWeb.page. And from there, if you're using a Chromium-based browser, it'll take you to the Chrome Web Store. You could also download it as a desktop app and run it that way. And so what this extension does is essentially archive the exact network traffic that is being loaded in the browser. And so before I show that, just very quickly, I'll kind of cover. So the way that it works is that it archives all the traffic via the Chrome debug protocol, which is what DevTools also uses, and it stores the data in the browser in IndexedDB. And then it can serialize that data into a format, into a file format that's downloadable, or that format can really be stored anywhere, including IPFS. And what you could do after you've stored the data, of course, is then to replay them. And replaying websites is actually even harder than actually capturing them. You have to rewrite the URLs, and you have to emulate really the JavaScript environment. And it's sort of basically a mini Wayback Machine that's running entirely in your browser. And so we won't have time to cover all of that, but that's sort of the idea behind this. And I'll go ahead and start a quick demo. And so let's say I'm on a Twitter page here, and I have the extension installed. And so I can go and I can create, I'll just create a new demo here. So I'll call it demo 2, and I'll click start. And you can see this size counter going up. So that's actually all of the network traffic, what we just saw in DevTools, being archived into the browser. And so as more things are loading on this Twitter page, you can see this size counter going up. And when basically the extension tells you sort of if more requests are being loaded or if it's done. And so when it's green like this, that means that it's no longer loading anything additional. And so I can kind of scroll down, and then it'll start loading additional things, and the size counter will go up. And since it's using the debug protocol, it tells me that ArchiveWeb.page is debugging the browser. This is sort of a Chromium-based security setting, so it's always there. I could also click on another page. Let's say I can click on the web recorder homepage, and then it'll also archive this page as well. And so let's say I'm done archiving, and I can click stop, and then I can go to browse archive, and this shows me the 2 pages that I have just archived. And I can then click on each of these, and now I'm loading twitter.com entirely from the network requests that are stored in the browser. And I can basically, so again, what's been archived is exactly what's loaded. So I can kind of scroll down as far as I did before. It won't let me, it'll probably stop at some point since I only went that far. I can also click on this site that, maybe that didn't work because there's a redirect, but I can also click on it like this and load the home page in this way. And so you also notice that when I look at this page, it's I'm logged in as myself. So this is my view of twitter.com/webrecorder.io, just the web recorder Twitter page, but it's logged in as me. And so this is sort of a unique view of the web. And if someone else goes to this URL, they'll see something different because it won't be logged in as them, or it won't be logged in as me. And so this extension really allows you to archive exactly what you see in the browser, and sort of your own unique view of the web, which is, of course, for most social media sites or many sites is entirely different for each individual. And then So what we also have is this sharing option, and this is where I can actually go and click Start Sharing, and now this archive has been written to IPFS, and I'll cover what that and I can actually why don't I go ahead and paste a link here into the chat so that, because it might take a little bit of time, so I'll just go ahead and let's see here. I'll just stop sharing for a second and paste this link. And it might take a little bit for it to load. And in the meantime, I'll go ahead and cover what is happening here. And so again, the idea is that you can share your unique view of the web with others. And so so how's this data actually serialized to IPFS? And we have a format called WAXI, which stands for Web Archive Collection Zipped. And it's a zip-based format. And inside of it, it stores data in another format called WARC, which is a standardized format created by Internet Archive. And it also stores the raw indices into the data. So you basically have the HTTP request response traffic and an index to look that up, and also a list of pages. And there's a manifest containing all of the files. And a key property of this format is that since it's a zip file, it can be random accessed. And so the idea is that even if you have a large archive, you don't have to load everything all at once. And that's sort of a key requirement for this to work. And so what's actually written to IPFS, and what's written is actually 4 files: the index, a service worker, sw.js, and a UI file, ui.js. And then the actual archive in this WAXI format is also stored in the as part of the multi-hash. And so what I just shared in the channel is basically a link to this multi-hash that was just created directly in the browser. And the idea is that, so I shared a link to an HTTP gateway. That's one way to load the data. There's actually multiple ways to, the sharing options include, this is basically the sharing menu and the extension. And so it'll basically allows you to get the multi-hash that was just shared, get the shareable URL through Replay web.page, which is another site that's hosted that will then use js-ipfs to load that hash, or you could just get an HTTPS gateway link, which is perhaps the most compatible, I would say, but not necessarily the fastest. And here, top is the status, and as you probably noticed, I was using the Brave browser, and the reason for that is that Brave has native support for Go IPFS, which is really great. And so that allows me to connect to the native Go IPFS daemon that's running, that has been started by Brave. And currently, the way that this works is that I already had to enable it in Brave manually, and then I actually check which port the IPFS API server is running, and it's on one of these predefined ports, depending whether it's a Brave nightly or a Brave production release. Eventually, I would like to have it so that this is possible to determine through an API, and Brave does actually have this API, Chrome.ipfs, for extensions, but currently it's only available to the IPFS companion, and so I'm working with Brave, and they're trying to make that more generically accessible to other extensions as well, and that will make this a little bit simpler. So that's sharing in Brave. That works probably the best. You could also share in the Electron app, which I didn't show, but there's basically you could download ArchiveWeb as an app, which has essentially the same UI. And this app starts a local js-ipfs daemon in Node, and so it connects to a local running instance. And that also generally works pretty well. Then, of course, the more general use case is if you're using this in Chrome. There are still some issues to resolve, of course, since there are no direct P2P connections in Chrome. Everything must be served over a WebSocket. There's no WebRTC either because I'm using a service worker. And so it connects to the way that basically the way that connecting to IPFS in Chrome works is basically, or in a browser that doesn't have native support, is by connecting to a preload node, which then loads the entire hash essentially as a kind of proxy. And that can be problematic, especially if your archive is very large. That will make it harder to, so essentially you have to sync everything that I've just archived over that WebSocket. And also the format, the WAC is designed for random access, whereas preloading is not. And so those are some of the current limitations.
1 minute warning to wrap up.
And then there's some of the current limitations of the system is that basically the preloading isn't yet working as reliably as I would like it to. When loading over a gateway, occasionally there are timeouts since it's making a lot of small range requests. And when using replay web page, it also requires a preload server. Yeah, and that's basically it. And maybe I'll also share. I'll quickly share another. So here's another archive that was just made earlier, and I'll put it in the chat. Yeah, so that's basically the idea is that you can create archives directly in your browser, and then share them with others. If you're using Brave, it works really well. If you're using Chrome, hopefully we'll have it working better in the future, and so you can share sort of your unique view of the web.
Awesome.
And,
this is very cool. Thanks for sharing, Ilya. Everybody, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in chat. And we'll review Q&A at the end. But very cool. Looking forward to see the future of Web Recorder and the latest features. Yeah, thanks so much, Ilya. And next coming up is Wiki on shaping the future beyond NFT.
Okay, so hope you see my screen. So my name is Wiki, and I'm a co-founder of KodaDot. And today I'm going to present NFTs on Kusama using IPFS and Textile. So what's actually KodaDot? KodaDot started as a Vue.js implementation of Polkadot. If you ever used Polkadot blockchain, you had to use actually Polkadot.js. And that's how we started. And then after finishing it, we moved to NFTs and ongoing wave. So now we have like first multi-language NFT gallery on Kusama using IPFS. And today I'm gonna show you how to create your NFT. Actually, it's really easy. And what's non-fungible token exactly? It's like unique item on the blockchain. You can imagine non-fungible token as something rare, as artwork, car, or whatever. What's actually nice, or what's actually unique, is that you have it on chain with additional metadata, so you can prove that you are owner and that item is unique. And actually, how we implemented it, usually in Ethereum, you use smart contracts and ERC-721 smart contract, but unfortunately, Kusama doesn't have smart contracts. So at the time, Bruno Schwartz introduced RMRK.app, it's on-chain standard for Kusama NFTs, and you actually write the transaction inside the blockchain. So how does it work? It's, as I mentioned, it's byte on chain, and it's actually super expensive to save everything on blockchain. So imagine posting image or GIF or even video on blockchain. It has to be like super pricey. So then actually IPFS made sense to make it cheaper, more effective, and verifiable. So as you can see on the picture down below, this is what the remark looks like. It's HTML encoded text. So we have like a set of tools, or there is defined set of tools how to parse it and how to actually make it work. And how we use IPFS, we automatically upload the NFTs or the images and metadata onto the IPFS. We use multiple gateways from US and Europe. We use Pinata. It's actually super easy to use it, so definitely worth to try. And how does the process look like? We fill out the form, submit it, then we are waiting to auto-pin metadata and image. Then user send the transaction to the blockchain, and then we are waiting for the blockchain finalization, because you can decide to actually cancel the transaction. So it's definitely worth the wait. And then we are inserting into the ThreadDB. ThreadDB is a Textile non-SQL database. It's really fast and really smooth, and we are using it to synchronize state of the NFTs. Imagine if you had to sync it by yourself, you can grab a coffee, take a nap, and still it wouldn't be loaded. So it's definitely worth to have it synchronized. Also, we introduced something called emotes. So it's emojis for NFTs. So you can have actually on-chain likes. So it's wow. And also we have pets. So if you use, for example, Twitter, you have sort of list or user curated list. So we have same thing for NFTs. So you can pick your favorite NFTs and share it with a friend. And that's it. Maybe let's look at the demo. So we open nft.koda.xyz. So actually I reload it. So this is how create looks like. We have two forms. We have collections and NFTs. So usually every NFT should belong to the collection, but we have the latest feature called single NFT. So it automatically creates collection and one single NFT. So let's take a look. Symbol as IPFS. Then a token, it automatically calculates ID, serial number, and collection is automatically calculated. So IPFS demo could be a nice name. IPFS. So let's put description IPFS Meetup would be fine. And now we upload image. So hope I have some, oh, cool, IPFS. And let's mint it. So now it's automatic, as you see on the console, it's pinning the image. It will pin the metadata shortly after. I hope so. It's taking a bit long. And then it will wait. It will. Okay. Oh, cool. So as you see, this is the signer, something like MetaMask or its Polkadot extension. So sign the transaction, and now we are waiting to finalize the block. As the remark standard says, we have to wait for the block, or we need the block for NFT to be valid. So we are waiting for Kusama finalization. Okay, it's finalized. Oh, cool. So we got our NFTs, and if we take a look on the gallery now, oh yes, it's here. Still, it's IPFS, so oh, it's here. Cool. So moreover, as I mentioned before, we have something called emotes. So we can give a like to it, for example, this one, and it's still like on chain. So oh, cool. So we have on chain like first of its kind, and also I can save it to the collection, and after that, I can share it to my friend. We are working on it, so it's test in prod. So I definitely be happy if you try it by yourself. Just buy some Kusama and try it. It's definitely cheaper and faster than actual Ethereum. The whole collection with 5 NFTs costs like $5, so it's nothing in opposed to actual gas fees. And don't forget to follow us on KodaDot on Twitter. And if you have something on mind or something what should be improved, just shoot me DM on Twitter on WikiWall. So thanks for joining.
Very cool. The emoji, on-chain emojis. That's fantastic.
It's cool.
Great.
You should definitely try that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. All right. We are open for questions now. Moving on to QA. Thank you, Wiki, for speaking. KodaDot looks super cool. And thank you to all of our other speakers. If you have any questions, feel free to add them in chat. Otherwise, I will just point out that the next meetup is going to be, share my screen. Same bat time, same bat channel next month, Tuesday, March 23rd, it will be the next meetup. Again, if you would like to speak, send us an email at IPFS-community. And yes, show you the email again. Right there at the bottom, IPFS-community at protocol.ai. We'll drop that in the chat as well. Yes, happy to have you come join, speak, tell us about all the cool stuff you're doing. And that is it for us today. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. Again, thanks everybody for submitting. Thank you, Jen, for the registration link. We look forward to seeing everybody next month. Thank you all for coming.